The architect James Gandon's monumental buildings defined the image of Dublin, Ireland's capital city. He was a genius. Gandon was born in London in 1742 at the home of his grandfather, who was a Huguenot refugee. He was very ambitious, and from an early age he wanted to be an architect. He also studied at William Shipley's Academy, and he won several awards for his drawings. At the Academy he formed a lifelong friendship with Francis Grose, an antiquarian who had a particular interest in drawing. At 16, he became articled to William Chambers, one of London's great architects, and he spent 7 years in that office until he qualified as an architect. When he left William Chambers, he set up office on his own. And shortly afterwards, he was awarded a gold medal for architecture by the Royal Academy in London, and he was in considerable demand. He became friends with Paul and Thomas Stanby, who were favourites of King George III, and they were able to introduce him to wealthy potential clients. Gandon was a sociable character. He enjoyed the good life, and he courted the attention of artists and important people. But possibly he didn't pay enough attention to the business end of his career, thinking talent alone was enough. So he didn't prosper as well as he would have liked. At a party in London, he met Lord Carlow from County Laois. He introduced Gandon to the Honourable John Beresford, who was Chief Commissioner of Irish Revenue, a man of great influence in Ireland and an accomplished political schemer. Beresford's brother-in-law, Lord Gardiner, owned a considerable area of land to the northeast of the city, and he was anxious to develop it, but there was a problem. To connect this land to the city, a bridge would have to be built. Now, the custom house at that time was situated at Essex Quay, well up the River Liffey and close to where the Clarence Hotel stands today. To oblige his brother-in-law, Beresford needed a bridge much nearer to the sea, so to solve the problem, he decided to build a new custom house at the mouth of the Liffey. Gandon prepared plans and came over to Dublin the following year, 1781, to supervise the building. He was welcomed into the home of Beresford, but held there in polite imprisonment for about 3 months. Beresford, you see, he didn't want the plans to become public knowledge until he had secured all the lands for the project. When Gandon escaped very early one morning, he was alarmed at the difficulties he would have to contend with when the foundations were being laid. When word got out about the works, there was consternation among Dublin tradespeople and merchants. They believed the new custom house would shift the heart of the city and that they would lose business. The concerns led to a protest organised by James Napper Tandy, a member of the city corporation. As construction began, Tandy's men came and they pulled down the fence that had been erected around the site. However, the building work progressed, and when the custom house was completed in 1791, it was quickly recognised as the most important building in Dublin. The bridge to facilitate the development of Gardiner's land and to connect the custom house to the city was still needed, of course, and Gandon was given that task. Completed in 1798, it was the widest bridge in Europe at the time, and it was named after the then Viceroy, Lord Carlisle, now renamed O'Connell Bridge. During Gandon's first year in Ireland, he was invited to spend Christmas at the home of Lord Carlow in County Laois. Carlow had plans to develop his estate, and Gandon went home with instructions to draw up plans for a new church on the estate at Coolbanagh. The Gulbanaha spire is topped by a metal rod carrying a copper ball to protect the building against lightning. Gandon later designed a tomb for Lord Carlow, which was built beside the sanctuary. Sometime later, Lord Carlow, now the Earl of Portarlington, instructed Gandon to design a neoclassical mansion at Emo Court, near the foothills of the Slieve Mountains. Also, around this time, he designed the Royal Military Infirmary. Gandon designed the Forecourts, another one of Dublin's landmark buildings, with its large drum and shallow dome visible all along the Liffey. It was completed in 1802. However, his plans were spoiled as he intended that the portico should cover the footway, as did the portico of the Houses of Parliament. Although the original design for Parliament buildings was by Edward Pearce, Gandon was asked to add a screen wall and a Corinthian portico facing College Street. When that was completed, the western screen and portico designed by him was also added. It was the first purpose-built Parliament House in the world. He undertook the erection of King's Inns to provide a place to study and residence facilities for barristers, the first stone being laid in August 1795. This was the last great public building designed by Gandon. His last building was at St Andrew's Church of Ireland in Lucan, close to his residence at Cannonbrook. When he retired, Gandon acquired Cannonbrook, a substantial Georgian house on Moat Hill overlooking Lucan village. He carried out landscaping and tree planting and moved in 1805. He lived there for 18 years until his death on Christmas Eve, 1823. He was buried in Drumcondra with his friend Francis Grose.